Gentlemen, the topic for today is emotional self mastery. Emotional self mastery in some circles is called emotional self dominion, and it's consistent with the concept of ruling yourself the way a king would rule a kingdom. We talk about your interior fortress, we talk about your fortress, we talk about being in complete control of your own faculties, our own faculties, my own faculties. Emotional self mastery is probably one of the most difficult lifelong struggles each one of us will undertake. In one of our other talks, we talked about commitment and how commitment is actually the key that unlocks all good things. Commitment to a course of action, commitment to others. But in this instance, I would tell you that my own perspective, and the perspective that I think you'll find other successful men adopt, is that emotional self mastery is part of a commitment we make to ourselves, a commitment I make to myself, a commitment you should make to yourself. Let's talk briefly about the emotions that we want to be concerned about, because although I start this by saying emotional self mastery, there are some who would tell you, all right, well, there are good emotions and bad emotions. Um, the emotion of joy is sometimes confused with the emotion of happiness. Joy is a little bit more serious, but let's talk about the emotional self mastery that's important to success. Primarily, what I'm concerned about now, and what I'm trying to bring up in this discussion is mastering fear. Mastering fear and mastering anger. Those are two emotions which I think we can all agree are negatives. Now, there's a time and a place for anger, and there's a time and a place for fear. But the important thing is not to let either of these two emotions or any emotion master you. Your emotions, our emotions, are here to give us clues, to give us sort of, they communicate to us the appropriate emotional response to a situation. But what we must learn to do is we must master our emotions so our emotions don't master us. Emotional self mastery is making a commitment to ourselves that we will not allow our emotions to dictate our actions. And it is the weak man who lets his emotions dictate his actions. It's the strong man who calls upon his actions, calls upon his reason to dictate to his emotions. In sales, you'll hear some people say, I used to say it myself, I have to make my own weather. If you're a man who wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, so to speak, or you wake up in an emotional funk, that may be normal, but here's the key. Do you let that emotional down mood dominate your feelings for the day and affect your actions? If you wake up in a bad mood, and all of us will sometimes, you have to know how to rock yourself out of that bad mood. You have to know how to get yourself moving. And frequently, the best thing you could do is change your physical posture, change your the way you stand, the way you hold your head, the way you smile. You can do something silly in the mirror. That's very effective. And I won't do it right now. It would embarrass us both. But I would ask you to think about some things you could do to rock yourself out of that emotional sense of the negative. Fear, anger, those two things can be the most dangerous obstacles to our success. And emotional self mastery has got to be what I call the prime directive for men, because the one emotion that we have that can cause others to be killed is anger. We're going to talk at another point about our temper and what I like to call the prime directive. And yes, it's a reference to Star Trek. The prime directive in Star Trek was not interfering with other cultures. In our lives as men, the prime directive, the one rule we must never break, is we must never lose our temper. Now, it's the rare man who can go through life never losing his temper, but we must never, ever allow ourselves to say that it's okay. It's a lifelong struggle. Usually it's against lust and anger for men. Those are the two things we really have to make war against throughout our lives. And I would submit to you that under the heading of emotional self-mastery, anger and fear are the ones we tackle first. Lust or covetousness, going after something, wanting something we shouldn't want to a degree that that hurts us, is the next thing we should go after. So what I would ask you to do is think about these topics, think about emotional self-mastery, ruling yourself like a king, emotional self-dominion. Let me know your response to this. Let me know how I can help you, or how we can help you as we delve into this topic. And remember, rule yourself like a king. Rule your kingdom. dominate your fortress, rule your interior castle, and all good things are possible. Make that commitment to yourself. Don't let fear or anger rule your decisions. Be bold, be authentic, be masculine. Let us know your responses to this particular topic.